This is a banger, man. What's up, chat? Happy Monday. How we doing? Good afternoon. It's August 23rd, 2021. Where did the year go? Where'd the month go, man? Just, inside of 10 days left before September 1 comes a-calling. Officially, in my city, school is back. So, school bus in the morning. That's the cue to go to bed. And, anyway. Hey, we got 6 games of baseball today. Hopefully you guys have had a successful, profitable weekend. I feel like I've nailed pitching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And hopefully you guys were tailing me wherever I was. Today, pitching gets a little less clear cut. So we're going to go game by game like we always do. And break down everything we can. Try to find some diamonds in the 6-gamer. And hopefully you guys are along for the ride. If you're taking notes, whatever, we'll do some call-outs. But for the most part, man, should be a relatively easy to uncover Monday night. So let's do it. Enjoy the beat. Enjoy the beat. What's up, boys? What up, Sean? What up, Tony? What up, Tall? Sean says, I got 27th and $121 single entry. I won $350. Of course, I had the one Royal who did nothing in Salvador Perez. I had Waino and Hutchison. Dang. What's up, Josh? Number 1 today, Gilham. Yanks and the Braves going at it. Let's go. I do like the Braves. I feel like the Braves would be my National League Cinderella team if I had to be that guy. But no, I definitely think that should be a good series. The two teams that kind of remind me of each other. Braves winning without in-your-face pitching. And I guess the Yankees have been winning without in-your-face pitching, but really their pitching has been really good, surprisingly. Told you Hutchison would do fine. Blue Jays was total trash. Look out. Let me see your winning Drew Hutchison line. Okay. Sean with the victory laps, man. Never change. Music's getting me hyped, dude. I love that beat. That beat is such a banger. Gotta be the most bangiest banger that ever did bang that's non-copyright. Short Slate don't mean short K. Let's go, baby. Oh, hilarious. Yesterday, the awesome stream when Eric goes, and goes, dude, when me and Eric get together, man, it's comedy. It's, I don't know. I don't want to say it's got to be one of the more entertaining programs for DFS. Because I do, you guys know me well enough to know that anything I say, whether you agree or disagree with it, most anything I say is going to be backed by stats, right? So, and then we can throw a little flavor and have some fun, man. It's awesome. What up, Jesse James 94? What's up, Justin Sports? Another Josh Jennings here. What up, Nathan? How we doing, buddy? I love that Bones beat. That Bones beat is a banger too, though. It is. We'll let it sift her. We'll do some plugs. Guys, PrizePicks.com. They show me love every month, and it's nice. But the love is low lately because the views and everyone's already signed up. But if you're not on PrizePicks.com, man, come check it out. It is sports betting meets DFS. I want to say prop betting meets DFS. You guys can bet individual props for baseball, like strikeout props, pitching outs, and then, of course, the fantasy point projection props. They have that for pitching. For hitters, they have hits, walks, runs, RBIs, total bases, runs, fantasy score. The fantasy scoring parodies Fanduel. So if a lot of you guys are Fanduel players, you can build off the research you're already doing, diversify your daily spend, and get rewarded. And if you sign up right now, And I know they kind of make creators a little iffy, because if you go there without using a promo code, you probably still get the same deposit bonus. But if you are a real one and you use code Gundecker when you sign up, they'll know that I sent you. Then I know that you went and used my code, and then I know you're a real one in the chat. So if you sign up, use code Gundecker, you'll get instant deposit bonus up to $100. So you're like, you know what, Gun? I hear you talking about it. Let me throw a 20 on there. They say, you know what? Since you heard Gun, that becomes a $40 bill, and you could play around. And not only do you have the option to bet on baseball, but you can make a ticket, a card with just about every sport there is: CS:GO, esports, golf, NASCAR, NFL, preseason, Big Three, whatever you want. And you can put all these different sports together on the same board and make some money, man. What's up, Blair? What up, Josh Plays DFS? That's 3 Joshes. That's 3. What up, Stanley the Bear of DFS? Yes, sir. You know, I don't know for sure, but I feel like there's a DFS content creator floating around using the word bear. So maybe I won't. maybe we check that before we put the flag in the ground. But yeah, we got the bear in the logo, man. Let's get it. Hey, Gun, trying to build my bankroll for football. What's best to play cash or single entry GPP for baseball or football? So like, are you trying to use baseball to build your NFL bankroll, or is it football? Either way, My quick answer is probably not cash games. I do think cash games are probably the toughest game in all of DFS right now. And to really build a bankroll with cash games, you probably need to sustain, 65 to 70% win rate. And that's just so hard to do in cash. So my suggestion would be single entry or 3 entry max, stuff like that. And then really work on and refine a process and stick to that process. The process is key. If you have a process, no matter what sport, not only will it expedite your lineup construction, your player pool building abilities, but it also will just make stuff faster, and it'll numb you to the results. So no matter what the sport, I would probably say single entry, 3 entry. Just because the grind in cash games is so hard, and for football, it's so many weeks in between, right? 17 weeks, and if you go 9-8, like, that's incredible. So I single entry. PayPal my money. Where can we get your bomb predictor? So the bomb detector is actually a premium perk of having a subscription at rundfs.com. But if you do follow me on Twitter, we do show some love every day. Not every day, but mostly every day. About 30 minutes before lock, I'll tweet the top end of the bomb detector. It's set up to show the not set up, but anyone with a grade over 4 is something I keep my eye on. And today there's not many of them, so I do try and tweet it out, show some love to people that follow me at twitter.com/Gundecker. So yeah, I'm Josh, but I go by Carlos. That's hilarious. Baseball. All right, so if you're trying to grind your NFL bankroll for baseball, single entry is probably not the best way to do that, because single entry does have such a high level of volatility. But I guess at the same time, 30 to 40%, heck, even a 20% to 30% cash rate in single entry, depending on how high you place, could be as effective as a 60% win rate. But cash games in baseball, I guess, have a little bit more. It sounds crazy to even say that, but cash games in baseball might actually be the easiest of all the cash games, because football ownerships are like through the roof, 50 to 70%. NBA is nuts. But I still, like, I'm a GPP player, so I don't want to get caught recommending cash when I'm not out here grinding cash like I used to. What's up, Smeezy? Yo, shout out to Smeezy. You guys didn't catch Smeezy yesterday. But finally, we got some regular race course racing right from the Department of Redundancy Department. My boy Smeezy back in the saddle here. No road courses, and he went out there and put up a big number. Profited over $1,000 after stat corrections, finishing second in his single entry NASCAR contest. So shout out to him. Every now and then, Smeezy will show some love in the Discord and share some information, some guys that he's on. So if you guys ever wanted to tiebreaker whether or not you wanted to sign up for VIP, maybe Smeezy will lure you back in. Shout out to Smeezy, our crew chief. Anyway, boys, we've got 6 games of baseball. Gentleman, Chris Adams, you already used that one. You just used that one, Shark. Your old age is getting to you. I'm going to tell your old lady. Gentleman, Chris Adams. Boy, don't get me started about wrestling, because what an amazing weekend it was to be a wrestling enthusiast. Am I right? Yeah. Anyway, amazing weekend. What was I doing before you distracted? I guess we were opening up the spreadsheet and about to get ready to break down game by game. Chat, you know the rules. As we go game by game, we're going to check chat, see if you guys had any inklings. If you guys have already done a little bit of research and you're on a couple people, share it with the class. If I mess up on saying something, or if you got specific questions, throw them at me. I don't care if you're brand new to baseball or not, man. We've got time today. Usually I ain't got time, but I got time today. Just 6 games. So let's floor it, pedal to the floor. And if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up for some good juju. And let's talk some baseball. Overall on today's slate, Jordan Montgomery is your most expensive pitcher, $10K against the Atlanta Braves. Not a great matchup pre-flop. You don't get excited to pitch against the Braves, but here we are. Lance Lynn also on the bump up against Toronto. Zach Greinke, your 3rd highest priced pitcher, taking on the Kansas City Royals. Fun story about Zach Greinke. He pitched against the Royals, I think in his last start, and he had a strikeout prop of 3.5. There's a massive penis in the parking lot right now. 3.5. I was like, you know what? 3.5 strikeouts against the Kansas City Royals. Zach Greinke can do that. My man went 6 innings, y'all. My man went 6 innings against the Kansas City Royals. Zero strikeouts. He is absolutely the biggest troll in all of baseball. Huascar Ynoa taking on the DH-less Yankees. Kyle Hendricks on the bump against the Rockies on the road. Marco Gonzalez, Will Crow, and then at the very, very bottom there's Antonio Senzatella. We're going to have fun talking about the viability and the validity of playing Antonio Senzatella. That guy. The CM Punk return was raw. Yeah, it was. Say it looks the Mets. Looks like I'm just playing an ownership game. I think that's the better way to attack these smaller slates because we do have a lot more leverage just kind of built in and offering to us. Braves will suck tonight. Your Yanks will win. Braves come off a long 9-game road trip. Dude, that guy is just, I don't know how his back is holding up. D-backs at the Pirates, though. Game number 1. Let's go. Humberto Mejia taking on Will Crow. These run totals here, 4.7 on the D-backs, 4.9 on the Pirates. Will Crow has definitely not been great for the Pirates, and his power allowed to righties is very significant. This year, 2.5 home run per 9, 2 right-handed hitters, a 319 average allowed. Click play and rewind and play again. I feel like I say it every time Will Crow is on the bump, but sometimes these advanced metrics, man, if I was not looking at the name and not looking at the left side columns, if you told me a guy had a 41% ground ball rate, a 33% hard contact rate, I wouldn't think his home run per 9 is as high as it is for Will Crow, but it is. To his I don't want to say credit, but today he likely only faces a couple of righties, and only one of them have any type of substantial power. And believe it or not, Carson Kelly is that guy. He is projected to bat cleanup for the D-backs. I typically prefer him against left-handed pitching, but today he actually had one of the highest bomb detector ratings in the bomb detector, and it's because Will Crow does not strike out righties and he gives up a ton of power. So this is an awkward spot where I feel like the knee-jerk reaction is we're not stacking D-backs, we're not stacking Pirates. we're not playing Humberto Mejia and Will Crow. So maybe on a 6-game slate, we're hoping this is the most average game that ever did average, and it is just very, very fadeable. I don't know that that's the correct approach. I'm probably going to cherry pick bats from either side, right? If we're looking at Mejia, we don't have a ton of sample size. I feel like I have listed his name so far this season. So let me see if he has any type of sample size to go off of in the majors this year, and then if not, we'll dig up his minor league numbers. But if we wanted to cherry pick on Will Crow, obviously Carson Kelly's an intriguing name. I don't know that they wouldn't use is Christian Walker available? So it's been a while since Christian Walker was relevant. He had a fun couple of months, but he's 2,300. Maybe he could dig into that those righty splits. He did homer in his last yesterday, so hey, maybe that starts something, and you curtain call it in a plus matchup. It would really be the righties that can swing with a little bit of power. But Humberto Mejia, we've got 9.3 innings of sample size so far, 300 plus average allowed to both sides of the plate, power allowed to both sides of the plate so far, and just to elongate on these numbers, let's go pull up his minor league stuff and see if he projected poorly in the minors as well. What up, Solid Picks? How we doing, bro? What up, Eric Johnson? It's hard to even play the ownership game. It is. So the ownership game I really like on short slates when it comes to like 70% owned pitchers. In the minors, we got a 13.2 inning sample size against lefties, 188 average allowed, 18.1 innings against righties, 247 average allowed. But over a strikeout per inning against both handedness hitters, 7 walks in 13 innings against lefties, not what you want. 3 and 18 against righties, 5 bombs to lefties in the minors in 13 innings. So maybe he just really sucks against lefties, and that's something we did see kind of come with him to the majors. So Colin Moran, Sasugo, as hard as it is to say that, he's got a couple homers in the last week. Ben Gamel, former Yankee great, not really known for power. But yeah, I guess this is probably an ugly game, and I think bad hitters can beat bad pitching. So I probably cherry pick both teams here. I guess I would have to get to a stack on the 6-game slate on either team here and just hope for the best. Both bullpens really, really bad. D-backs bullpen certainly amongst the worst in all of baseball. So yeah, I'm probably going to get lazy and stack the offenses here because it comes down to me not wanting to invest in either pitcher. With that said, Mejia at least has some strikeout propensity that we've seen in the minors. So I guess there wouldn't be a 0% sum of him being a solid play today on DraftKings at Arizona. Does DraftKings just straight up not have Arizona? Yeah, they don't even have Mejia listed. I don't know if that he's not in the player pool, but they don't have him listed. So I guess maybe double check later to see if I got the wrong information on who's starting. But yeah, give me a little Mejia in 150, not in 20 or less. Let's get caught up here. Monty's only 14% for the Yanks. Seems too low owned. I mean, being the most expensive against a tough matchup, I get it. But I will say Montgomery has, and I've been overly skeptic of him for the bulk of the season. He has proven me wrong. And as a case in case, I'll never forget how he just dominated the White Sox after I had the White Sox destroying him. And we've seen him hold his own against high talent teams like the Red Sox even, Yanks are uber chalk. What are you gonna do? Did you already discuss your prize picks? I didn't. But if you guys remind me later on, we'll go back and try and find some plays. I did the plug, but I didn't discuss any plays. Let's move on to the next game. White Sox at the Blue Jays. Lance Lynn taking on Alek Manoah. So this is a really incredible immovable object, unstoppable force situation where we do have two of the better pitchers on the slate, especially when it comes to strikeouts, but they are going against tough perceived matchups. Blue Jays, of course, have the home court advantage here, and just two guys in their lineup with a strikeout rate of 25% or greater, at least in their projected lineup. That's Teoscar Hernandez and Randall Grichuk. However, Lance Lynn has really elevated strikeout numbers against righties, over 30% on the season, and he's likely to face an all but 2 or 3 righty lineup to really tap into that potential upside. And you can see a lot of people maybe be hesitant to pitch against the Blue Jays, and I think you just have to take some risks today and understand that maybe the top-end pitcher score isn't going to be extremely wild. So if you got to 5-6 innings of Lance Lynn, I definitely think he's a viable option. He does have one game against the Blue Jays this season. He dropped 29 DKP. Hasn't been as sharp lately. I think the Cubs game is kind of a staggering example. 8 strikeouts that game, 4 hits, 1 earning. How did he have 8 strikeouts, 6 innings, but only 24 fantasy points? I feel like in my head I would expect a larger number. But that's the game where he should have dropped another 30 plus. But I think Lance Lynn has to be in a player pool just by process of elimination and the fact that this Blue Jays lineup does project righty heavy. But I would be lying to you if I said, guys, this is probably one of those seesaw games for me where I'm sitting on both sides of the seesaw going up and down, playing both pitchers, playing both stacks, and just kind of hoping I got a blanket over the ranges of outcomes for tournaments. This would be a nightmare game for short entry. The weaknesses of Lance Lynn really aren't super prevalent. The 4.67 xFIP to lefties maybe make you think that Corey Dickerson could be a little bit sneaky, but for the most part, I'm really just interested in Lance Lynn tapping into his Ultra K upside. If I was going to stack Blue Jays, it would just be betting on talent, and I would be. But I do think this is going to be one of the tougher 9-inning games for the Blue Jays. I mean, this White Sox will back up Lance Lynn with one of the nastiest bullpens in baseball. So it definitely seems like I'll have more Lance Lynn than the Blue Jays stack, but I'm not going to not have the Blue Jays stack. Alek Manoah on the other side here, 3.5 xFIP to lefties, 4.5 to righties. Really, really strong against righties. Just a 5.6% walk rate, a 25% K rate, and a 155 average allowed. The xFIP may be calling for a little bit of regression on that number, but at 8,500, you're seeing the same path and the same awkwardness here. The White Sox generally have a much higher team strikeout rate than the Blue Jays by almost 4 or 5%, depending on who is in and who is not in the lineup. Blue Jays still without George Springer, but if you look at this White Sox lineup, Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Brian Goodwin, and Sebi Zavala all have 24% or greater K rates since the beginning of last year against right-handed pitching. So almost a 1-in-4 opportunity for Manoah to get some Ks. I think a lot of people are soured on Manoah after his last start. I definitely was not having fun that night where he got the soft landing spot of the Washington Nationals and curtain called a 30 DKP point game with a -6. But you got to have a goldfish memory in baseball. You got to understand the variance, and some nights pitchers are just going to get smacked. And even though the White Sox are exponentially a greater team than the Nationals, there's still a world where Manoah at 8,500 is a solid play, 16 to 20 DKP, and even 20 plus, because we have seen the White Sox show a lot of strikeout propensity. So another spot where I'm playing both sides of the coin here. I will still probably have more Manoah than the White Sox stack, but I think I'm a little bit more fearful that the White Sox get to Manoah than I am Blue Jays get to Lance Lynn. So I would have to have that reflected in my personal ownerships, meaning, if I get to 35% Lance Lynn, 10% Blue Jay stacks, and I probably could see myself getting to 25%, 30% Manoah, and then, maybe 10% White Sox, maybe 15% White Sox stack, so maybe like half and half, half of half. So plenty of ways to play with a leverage here against the field, but also if you guys are personal MME scripters, 100, 150 in the mini max, whatever it is, you can kind of hedge against yourself. And this is a game where I would definitely have to hedge against myself because there's just too much talent on the bump and in the batter's box to not kind of cover a couple of bases. Eric says Manoah is 57% on DraftKings. Holy, that's tough. That's wild. What up, Rod J? Could see Lynn going for 35 plus after getting ejected last game. Yeah, that's the other thing. Remember, Lance Lynn in that last start wasn't like he got pulled or got in trouble or in game or anything. He was coming off the bump for a sticky stuff check, and he just got into it with the umps, and he took his belt off, threw it at him, and then he got ejected. So don't be too alarmed that, he went 5 and 4 innings last 2 games. Something ain't right. He did have 88 pitches through 4, so maybe he only had another inning or 2 in him. But yeah, I don't know. Just put a little context to the 4 innings there. Scotty doesn't know. Manoah at 54% on DraftKings right now. Probably go way down though. Man, I don't know. 6-game slate. Like, I get it. 8,500 seems like a really, really soft landing spot at that range. I don't hate the idea of Inoa. I'm going to try and talk through Hendricks and Senzatella here in a minute, because those two I think are the biggest decisions for me personally on the slate. But we'll see. What up, Nathan? I'll go 1 single entry and wait for tomorrow's slate. Hey, I ain't mad at you. I hand build 150. Get the freak out of here. You do what? No. I guess in baseball you could, but Jesus H, you got to start at like 10 a.m., bro. What? Anyway, you're trolling though. I get it. You're trolling. Yankees at the Braves. Next game on the docket. Jordan Montgomery, old Gumby taking on Oscar Inoa. We do have a confirmed Braves lineup, so we'll get that punched in. Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler, Freddie Freeman. I hate Austin. Austin Riley. Hold me closer. Trying to dance me. Swanson. Adam Duvall. William Contreras batting 7th instead of 8th. And then Guillermo Heredia, former Yankee great. Did you know that? Did you know that? In the 8th spot. So that's our confirmed Braves lineup. Why am I? I'm typing Williams. There we go. William. That is our confirmed Braves lineup. So the matchup here is an intriguing one. Jordan Montgomery has a much, much softer asking price on Fanduel at 8K than on DraftKings. The Yankees yesterday did not have to play. They got postponed, but they got postponed a day in advance. So a little bit of a much-needed off day. And it was an opportunity for the Yankees bullpen to reset a little bit. Last couple games for Montgomery, 4.2, 5.5, 5.2. Aaron Boone doesn't really make him get overly stressed or make him go longer than he has to, but he does have the ability to give you a strikeout per inning, and really, really, really has a knack for run prevention. 3.7 ERA on the season. The xFIP for him is at the expected ERA is at 4.01, Sierra at 4.03. So those aren't staggering, make you feel good numbers, but on the context of this slate, it's probably amongst the better expected ERAs and Sierra's. Lance Lynn and Alek Manoah actually have better numbers in that category. So maybe a bigger boost for them. But I think absolutely I get to a little bit Montgomery. I know the 10K price point itself, when you isolate that and you really over-focus on that, seems like a lot. But I don't tend to do that. I do think, at lock, salaries go out the window and points are the points. Because a lot of my lineups end up leaving, up to 3, 4, 5K on the table. And then, why am I just stuck on a 7K pitcher instead of a 9K pitcher just for the simple fact of isolated value? With that said, I don't think like 10K is a fantastic price point, and I don't think much over 20 DKP in a great game is a reasonable expectation. But 20 DKP, that dog will hunt on this slate more than likely. So I think he's in the player pool for me against righties. A 250 average, a 1-1 home run per 9. He is going against a pretty tough Braves lineup, especially against lefties. Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler, Freddie Freeman is a scrappy bat to get by, even lefty on lefty. But if he can do that, if he can navigate that, the strikeout rates are really, really high in this Braves lineup. 27% on Soler. Actually, we got to correct this. 27% on Soler, 33% on Riley, 28% on Adam Duvall, 47% on Contreras, and then, of course, the pitcher spot. So there's a world where he's got a battle, but he can get himself some strikeouts in key spots. It is kind of staggered out. Running back against Montgomery here, Oscar Inoa. Jesus. That train was louder than your usual train. Inoa does have elevated strikeout numbers against both sides of the plate. He's averaging 27%. Overall K rate, the expected ERA is 4.54. The Sierra's down. The whip is down. So I actually don't hate the idea of pitching a little bit of Inoa, but that would really be contingent on what this Yankees lineup looks like. I think even the best Yankee lineup today, I still have to diversify my pitching player pool and get to a little Inoa, because I do think 16 DKP at 8,300 might give you a puncher's chance to have optimal score, or at least a lineup that could compete at the high end. Inoa's weaknesses, if you had to point and say that's your problem, it's that 2.15 home run per nine against righties. However, the underlying metrics aren't really that inducive of a problem with power. Just a 24% hard contact rate, a 32% fly ball rate. At home, that home run per nine has dropped to 116. So it could just be a wonky sample size in a 50-inning stretch, where on the road a couple times he got smacked by a few righties. So I do think Inoa is absolutely in play, because the Yankees do have some strikeouts and a lot of 30%ers in that lineup. So it is a stick of dynamite. You guys have already said that the Yankees ownership does have a lot of ownership attached to their names today. I understand it. They have a 4.5 run total. They're actually underdogs in this game right now. So I don't think that it's a crazy thought to say, all right, if this is your highest owned stack on the slate, let me push back a little bit and just put that ownership somewhere else, but also maybe pitch against it, because the higher owned the stack, more likely the lower owned the opposing pitcher is. So is in the pool for me. He really is. If I'm being an unbiased observer here, I think at 8,300, 16-20 is a very, very real outcome. 5.1 innings against Miami, 4 Ks. Did throw 80 pitches in his first game back in the minors in his last start. I think he had like 10 Ks. So if we add a 10 to 15 bullet count to his chamber, get to 90, 95, I definitely think 20 is there if he's on one. So give me some Inoa for sure. And then something to watch, Inoa, I believe, has had a couple of homers this season. So Jordan Montgomery may not be out of it when they get down there. Also, in the Yankees' previous National League games against the Marlins, Aaron Boone, he put on his National League manager hat and did a lot of double switching. So look for that to maybe spoil some stacks this series. For instance, if Giancarlo Stanton started in the field, he'd probably be an immediate candidate for a double switch out halfway through to get into a better defender. But that would also, for me, heighten some risk on Jordan Montgomery not really getting through to the 6th inning. Because, I could see them going to his bat after his second at-bat. So, something to keep in mind. This neighbor's banging. Braves reliever Tyler Matzik has 16 innings scoreless streak going on. Hasn't been scored on in the last 18 outings. Tread careful on chalk. So, what are we doing here? Matzik, how many... Is that 1 inning? Is that what we're touting? Don't sack him because of 1 inning. Also, he's pitched the last 2 days, and a lot of times skippers don't like their relievers to go 3 days in a row, so watch out for that. But also, scoreless streaks for bullpen guys is a very wishy-washy, because you're often put into lanes that benefit you, and it's just 3 out sample sizes every time. What up, Earth to Air? How you doing, bro? Are people still chasing the Braves? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. I think no matter what, I would be cherry picking Braves. Like Ozzy Albies is way too good against lefties to not get to him. Freeman's just a professional hitter. On a 6-game slate, you're gonna have Braves. I would have Braves myself. Like I said, I do think the Yankees bullpen got reset a little bit yesterday, but there's still some weaknesses and there's still some question marks. Aroldis Chapman came back, Zach Britton's there, and they just been not great. So if Aaron Boone does get to them to give them some opportunities to get right, it could create some plus EV at bats later on in the game. And we've seen the Yankees be pretty lefty heavy at the bullpen anyway, guys like Lucas Licky. In this game particularly, I would assume that they would want to use as little of the bullpen as possible and maybe line up Lucas Hill for tomorrow, the day after. But I'm just thinking out loud. But give me a little both pitchers. I'm in on Inoa. I think the strikeouts line up really, really nicely. And then if I have to be the devil's advocate for this Yankee stack, right? If they are the number one projected owned stack, there's a lot of moving pieces. The Aaron Boone has done a lot of lineup swappage in these National League games earlier this season. And that could really sour some of the expectations, right? If you lost a Rizzo randomly for a Luke Voit, or one of the outfielders got subbed out, like it's very, very possible that happens, and they go for the double switch halfway through the game. But give me both pitchers, give me both stacks. We're just playing with ownerships. Did I miss anything in chat? Rod says Braves righties for the win. I'm with that. Can anyone here get me off of Vertigo and down to something better? Pitching Crow, Lynn, and Bum Hendricks, I'm guessing first look. I'm with that. Blue Jays are batting like 100 with runners in scoring position. So those are numbers that tend to suggest regression more than suggest predictive value. And that's not saying that the team itself should progress. Just generally speaking, the league will have a batting average that you expect to be the median, and so numbers like that get a little bit one-sided, like Sean talking about a reliever going through a scoreless streak. Well, he's not gonna have a perfect career, so runs are coming. Fade chalk Yankees. I mean, yes, like short slate, the right strategy usually is to fade the top owned stack. Usually, mathematically with the failure rate, you find some other options, some other upside options, and you go on. Rockies at the Cubs. Antonio Senzatella taking out Kyle Hendricks. Hey, how many of you guys remember stat muse from NBA, right? We use that sucker a lot. We love to use stat muse to find out what a center's done against the Brooklyn Nets 3 years ago. Did you know you can use it for baseball as well? So a query to watch for now is the Chicago Cubs. So I'm going to go starting pitcher DKP by game log versus Cubs. Let's go last 10 games and see what comes back. So Carlos Hernandez yesterday dropped 30 DKP. Chris Bubich 30 DKP. Brad Keller 28. Tyler Mahle, for whatever reason, got smoked on that day slate. He was massive chalk. Gutierrez 18. Wade Miley 30. So there's a lot of really awkward names dropping 30 DKP against the Chicago Cubs. And Miley, Keller, Bubich, and Hernandez, not necessarily known as the Kershaws of the world. Antonio Senzatella has an 8% swing and strike rate and a 15% K rate. This Cubs team, Frank Schwindel, Ian Happ, Patrick Wisdom, David Pote, Robinson Chirinos, and Kyle Hendricks himself, those names cumulatively probably average a 30% K rate. Unstoppable force, immovable object. Antonio Senzatella is your second lowest priced pitcher on the slate. At what point do we just start grabbing random names against the Chicago Cubs because they probably aren't going to get you negatives? I think 6K for Senzatella, and I don't think I've played this guy all year. I don't think I've ever played Antonio Senzatella. Actually, I take that back. I think one time against the old Padres, like 4 years ago, I might have played him and I regretted it immediately. But Senzatella, anybody? Can anybody buy into this? Because I would almost treat him like a home run bat here, right? 6K. If I got to 10 to 14 on the low end as an SP2, I might just live with it knowing that this Cubs team has let some crazy stuff happen against them. On the road this season, a 335 average allowed, just a 5.8% walk rate. But the ground ball rate's high. The hard contact rate's higher than you want it. It wouldn't shock me if guys like Patrick Wisdom, who have that high strikeout rate but that elevated barrel rate, it wouldn't shock me if a couple of these guys got through to him. But man, I at what point, like, I can't have none, right? Like, I got to have some Senzatella, knowing this Cubs team's track record. So I'm gonna be in on Senzatella, perhaps more so than I should be, and definitely a move that I normally don't make. But this Cubs team has really turned me into a believer in how bad they are. So I'm going to have some of Senzatella and just understand that I'm willing to accept 10, 15 DKP. But if he got to 20 plus, it would just be par for the course for the Chicago Cubs. With that said, you take that out and you try to pick on his weaknesses. I guess that it would be fair to look at his home road splits and maybe place him in Wrigley Field versus Coors numbers. So usually with Rockies pitchers, I'll do this. So let me pull up his splits on the season. Mal says Senzatella or Hendricks viable on Fanduel. I think they both will. I'll talk about Hendricks in a minute. Hendricks is probably the more logical play, maybe. But Senzatella, because he's not a strikeout guy, he throws a lot of strikes. He's probably the more likely to go 7 innings and get you that quality start on Fanduel. But anyway, on the road against righties this season, a 302 average allowed. On the road against lefties, a 368 average allowed. The WOBA is The power, 2 homers in 19 innings against lefties, 3 against righties in 21 innings. So it's incredibly average. But here's a weird number: just 1 less strikeout than innings pitched against righties on the road, and that's not really indicative of him earning the strikeout. I guess I could look at his. Do they isolate swinging strike rate from homer? I don't think they would, but it is at least intriguing. I guess we would go to his game log and just out of curiosity, does he get more whiffs on the road outside of the altitude? So here's one against Chicago 3 starts ago, a 17% swinging strike rate. I mean, that's how bad this Rockies lineup is. That in Coors, Senzatella was getting a 17% whiff rate, and he only had 9 that game. But that's an incredible number to see next to Senzatella's name. Yeah, give me a little Senzatella 6K, man. I'm just gonna have to take it. We got 85-degree temps in Wrigley. Running it back here, Kyle Hendricks is on the bump for the Cubs. Rockies, as strong as they are at home, they are literally as weak on the road. They did put out a confirmed lineup, and it does not contain Trevor Story, who is pretty much their best big league talent. I'll show you guys what I mean by the home road split. So on the season, the Rockies, I guess we'll do WRC plus as a metric to follow here. I think the Rockies are dead last in WRC plus on the road. Yeah, they're at 65. I mean, that's just ridiculously bad, and I would assume that number could only drop without Trevor Story. But to put that in perspective, something to put in your back pocket when people run to pitch against the Rockies in Coors, if we flip that away to home and keep an eye on the WRC plus. By the way, WRC plus, basic stat, weighted runs created. 100 is your think of it as like a linear scale. 100 would be league average. The Rockies, I guess yeah, they're only 94 at home. But that's still a massive jump there by almost 30 runs. So, yeah, Rockies really bad on the road, and you're taking away Trevor Story. This Kyle Hendricks price point, 8,100, very reasonable. We're looking for 5-6 innings. I think Hendricks is somebody that could grind his way through that. Do we expect a massive ceiling? Maybe not, but 17, 20 DKP has all been within the ranges of outcomes. Ironically, he's averaging fewer fantasy points at home, but this is a really weak Rockies team. And outside of Blackman, CJ Cron, and Elias Diaz, everyone has a 1 in 4K rate or greater. And we've seen CJ Cron also benefit more at home than on the road. So Hendricks is absolutely in play for me today. I would like to say he would have more strikeout viability, but I tell you what, that's probably not a true sentence. Last year, an 11.6% swing and strike rate. This year, just 8.9%, and that's only 0.6% more than Senzatella, and he doesn't deal with the altitude once every 5 days. So maybe there is some extra thought in plugging in some Senzatella. With that said, both teams really, really bad. I don't hate some lineups, having both these pitchers, but I'll definitely have exposure to both pitchers tonight. It's that kind of slate. It's an ugly night. So sometimes bad pitchers beat bad hitting, and I think Hendricks could survive this spot at a decent rate. That at 8,100, I can get 16 to 20 out of them. With that said, Matt Century boys, we step forward, we say, all right, that's cool, but what do we do with these offenses? Do we have none? There's no way I get to investing in Senzatella and not hedge it. So as hard as it is to play Cubs right now, if you do get Patrick Wisdom, Frank Schwindel, guys like that against a contact pitcher, I'm going to have to bet on them maybe tapping into their barrel rate and their ISO rates to have a solid game. So David being in a player pool, I'd probably be less than 5%. Less than 6% on the cumulative stack. And then Kyle Hendricks, we know what his weaknesses specifically are. 5.12 xFIP to lefties, a 290 average, and a 175 home run per nine. Charlie Blackmon, definitely someone that could tap into those weaknesses. Ryan McMahon and Sam Hilliard, but really just Blackmon and McMahon are the more warm and fuzzy clicks. Connor Joe, for whatever reason, does not really go forward in price that much, and he's had a couple of strong games home and away in the last month or so. So, I'd be there on some Rocky stacks as well, but we're talking probably less than 6% on both sides, and I'll probably be aggressive with ownership on both of these pitchers, and it doesn't feel great, but you guys understand the justification, right? If I'm going to make some wild decisions, we're going to justify it. What up, Lorenza? How we doing, boys? I'm going to get caught up on chat. My bad for kind of getting lost in that one. Shot says, I don't put much into Vegas totals. I think the Royals are way too low today. That's fair. Vegas totals definitely have a lot more variance in baseball than many other sports, but it's still a good starting point. They don't just pull numbers out of a hat, Whit Merrifield ranked against Greinke. I can see that. We'll get into that. Eric says, I'm keep stacking Cubs till I win the 20K with them. Yeah, baseball's baseball, right? One of these days. We saw the Nats do it against freaking Manoah. 4 Royals, 4 A's. I like that. I keep stacking the crappy Mets. Oof. Tough scene. I guess we'll move. I was trying to see if we had a lineup from earlier come out, but it didn't. So I guess we'll move on. We only have 2 games left on the docket. Guys, a little reminder, if you guys want access to this spreadsheet, the bomb detector, the K Factory, all that good stuff, it is a perk of having a premium subscription at rundfs.com. Because football's on the horizon, there has been a list of package pricing. So until January 1st, rest of the year, which is going to be a lot of football season, the rest of baseball, and the first chunk of basketball. That's $300 until the Super Bowl. So you're getting the whole football season, a lot of basketball, essentially almost until the All-Star break. The rest of MLB, that's $400, and then till the end of NBA season, $700. So that's pretty much a year pass. All that stuff's up. So those of you that have been looking for those package pricing to come out, there's a lot of you that have been DMing me. It is up and it's official. Those prices are for the week, the bye week and the monthly, go back into full effect on September 1. So right now they're up to 40% off. If you want to taste it before you overcommit, it's a good time to go to rundfs.com, get signed up, get to the spreadsheet, and most importantly, get to the rundfs.com VIP Discord. This is the most valuable asset, I think, of a VIP subscription. Some of the sharpest cats in all of DFS that grind daily at every different bankroll, all different sites are on here. We literally have millionaire maker winners in this Discord. We have 100K winners in this Discord. I think someone's taking down the mini max once a week in this Discord. So no matter what your bankroll level is or what your contest selection strategies are, there's somebody in here for you. And then we like to hang out in the voice chat before lock every day, kicking it, shooting the breeze, making some lineups. And you guys are welcome to come join, have some fun with us. So go check that out. Good way to support the stream, support the site. I'm going to move on to the next game. The Seattle Mariners taking on the Oakland Athletics. The Mariners lineup, or did I just skip the Royals game? I skipped the Royals game. Let's go Royals at the Astros. Daniel Lynch taking on Zach Greinke. So we just talked about how Greinke trolled me last start with his friggin' strikeouts. Just out of curiosity, what is Greinke's strikeout prop here? And do I dare? So we'll go to MLBP on PrizePicks and look for Zach Greinke's number. He's at 4. So I am gonna not bet that, and he's gonna have like 10. I just know it. Greinke is such a troll. Daniel Lynch on the bump for the Royals. Greinke for the Astros. Lynch has had much stronger lefty numbers with his positive platoon in that matchup, lefty versus lefty, and not great against righties. 38 innings of sample size, just a 17% carry to righties, a 504 xFIP, 9% walk rate, getting on the danger zone there, and a 294 average allowed. The Astros have absolutely shown some big upside games in the last week. We don't have a confirmed lineup for the Astros yet, but there could be some value in it through and through. Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Yuli Gurriel, all masters on the righty side to lefties. And then we're seeing the emergence of Chas McCormick, Jake Meyerson. We've even seen Taylor Jones in the last couple days, a 2K special, be the keys to taking down tournaments. So I would be absolutely invested in the Astros stack. You guys have told me that the Yankees are the top owned stack. I haven't looked at ownership yet. But like, if I had to guess, it would easily be that the Astros were your highest owned stack. So, not saying I know more than the ownership projections, but I don't understand the justification on the Astros not being the most sought after stack. But I'll allow it. I mean, because I don't think people are playing Daniel Lynch, and I'm way more likely to play Oscar Noah. So give me the Astro stack is my top projected stack here against Lynch. And then if they dip into this bullpen, I think the Astros are good enough and strong enough to put up a big number. No confirmed lineup yet, but there's not really an Astros lineup that would turn me away from that statement. Zach Greinke, his weaknesses have come against righties. Righties a little pop, a 1.8 home run per 9 this season against righties. That's why Salvador Perez is on the cover, man. He's one of the better bomb detector ratings, 4.25. Whit Merrifield is also a guy I wouldn't mind getting to. I saw some Nicky Lopez chatter on Twitter the last couple days. I think I might be missing out on a Nicky Lopez hot streak. He's 2,800. 21, 23, 16, 21. A lot of stolen base potential, and he's batting second. So if he gets on in between Merrifield and Salvi, I think that's a good guy with some utility. So we don't necessarily need power out of him. Benintendi, yeah, I actually don't think the Royals are completely out of play. The Royals run total 3.5 does feel soft. I think Sean was alluding to that in chat. I would say I kind of agree with that. I do think I wouldn't be stunned if the Royals dipped into that over, but I get it. Greinke's a troll at home this year, 4.2 xFIP, 1.61 home run per 9. The expected ERA is actually 4.01, but the ERA 3.43. He induces a lot of soft contact and trolls a lot of offenses. So I wouldn't get overly committed. I'm not putting the whole PayPal account on the Royals over. But I actually do like a couple of these guys individually, and as a stack, I could draw out 4 or 5 guys that would make me logistically okay. So I'd be there on some Royal stacks, but I wouldn't likely have to be too aggressive because of the run total. I imagine they're still a little bit too low owned, right? Would we play some Greinke at 8,900? I would say on this slate, probably a little bit in 100, 150. Probably none for me in 20 or less. But as I got into 100 lineups, I definitely think there's a world where Greinke decides to get a strikeout per inning today and maybe gets us 20 to 25 DKP. So yeah, he's probably in the player pool for me against the warm and fuzzies, but I think there's not a 0% range of outcomes where he doesn't get 20 plus. So he's in the back end of the pitching player pool for me. And 20 or less, no, but 50 to 100, yeah, he's probably cracking it. No Daniel Lynch for me at all. Not doing it. Not even if there's a fire. Right? Daniel Lynch, did he pitch against the Astros that last swing through? He did. He went 7 innings. What do I know? 23 DKP, just 5 strikeouts. So a little bit on the lucky side, it looks like, in terms of batted balls in play. And I'm willing to kind of lean on the Astros offense more than Lynch as a pitcher here. So no Lynch for me. Some Greinke, some Astros, some Royals. A lot of Astros, some Royals. After I do my main research, if I look at ownership projections and the Astros are not number one owned, then yeah, I'm gonna lose a lot of money on the Astros. It's just gonna be what it is. What up, Obi-Wan? 1 through 4 Royal stack. 1 through 4, but even 1 through 5. And then Hunter Dozier, he fits the bill of a righty with power to maybe tap into Greinke's 1.8 homer per 9 to righty. So I'm there on that, right? What up, Nate? These 2K Houston bats have been raking. Taylor Jones. Me and Taylor Jones. What did Taylor Jones' price point get to? He's still 2K bare bones min. So if you guys missed out on the Taylor Jones experience, last 2 games he has started and dropped 37 DKP, 10 DKP. Not necessarily predictive or anything like that, but it does. I don't want to use Tyler Naquin as the comp here, but at 2K, you're seeing, hey, he's not a bum. And we did look at his and Jake Meyer's minor league numbers. I mean, these guys were absolutely crushing it in the minors. Both of them batting well over 300. So like, it's not like they're bums that got lucky in their first couple of games in the spotlight. So look for Taylor Jones to maybe make that lineup. Is it Chas McCormick? Is that the guy we need out for Taylor Jones to play? I think it is. McCormick is dealing with a hand injury, so if McCormick doesn't play again, maybe look for Taylor Jones to get another spot start and be bare bones main 2K, and then you get a couple 2K bats. This slate is literally whatever you want, and we're not worried about price. We're just playing ownerships and game theory, right? Solid said, hasn't lunchtime Lynch been good recently? I was scared to attack. So we got time to maybe look at his game-to-game results. It's only 3 o'clock, bro. We got time, chat. If you got process questions or really want to dive in something, we got some time. I'm not gonna be on for 30-40 minutes if I don't have to, but I'm willing to give you guys another 30-40 minutes if you guys really wanted to dig into a couple things. So we'll look at the last couple games for Lynch. 11.2% swinging strike rate against Houston with just a 56% first pitch strike. And if we put batted ball data on that, he had a 4.54 xFIP, a 5.4 xFIP. So last 2 games against the Astros and the Yankees, very much so on the lucky side if we let xFIP and Sierra tell the story. And then against Toronto, 7.2 Sierra, 7.04 xFIP. So the question was, has he been good the last couple games? Well, it looks like the results have been favorable, but those metrics are more predictive, saying that regression's coming. So I guess against Toronto, he actually did allow 7 hits, but just 3 earned runs. 4 hits, 1 and 3 earnies. So the results have been much better, but it doesn't appear to be a skill thing, more so a luck thing. Just looking at the xFIPs and whatnot. The hard contact against Houston last game, 47%, which is up there. 12% line drive rate. No infield flies. He hasn't had a pop up in 2 games. So it does look like it was very lucky against the Astros. So yeah, Josh says D-backs number 1 own stack on DK as of now. Okay. D-backs coming out, of course. They're going to score like 2 runs. Is Taylor Jones playing today? Carlos, I think Taylor Jones's status will be contingent on Chas McCormick's status. So let's not get too excited to play Taylor Jones, but if McCormick doesn't play again, It looks like Taylor Jones could slide back into the lineup, and he's been good enough. Maybe they give one of their regular outfielders, other than McCormick, a day off. But he's not in the confirmed lineup, right? Did I miss anything? Does Greinke hold runners well? Good question. So if you guys have ever wanted to know if a pitcher is good or bad at holding runners, here's one thing we can do. We can go to Baseball Reference. Zach Greinke. And there's two things I would probably do here. I would look at the pitcher's ability to hold runners. So if you go to Baseball Reference, scroll down to Finders and Advanced Stats, and then go to Fielding Advanced Stats. Love the Astros today. Yeah, I think Astros easily have to be my favorite stack. And then right here on standard filling, I guess maybe I would have to zoom in so you guys can see it a little bit better. I'll go to 150%. Will that help? No. 175%. Here we go. So this little column right here is one way to find it. So we want to focus on stolen base and cost stealing, and then the cost stealing percentage. So cost stealing percentage is the, well, you guys know, it's percentage of times that the runner gets caught. So just a 14% cost stealing percentage is what I'm seeing. I think this massive advertisement pop-up blocker. Hello. All right, I'm gonna zoom back out for my sanity. There we go. So yeah, this year he's got just a 14% caught stealing percentage. He's allowed 6 stolen bases, 1 caught stealing, which is not great, right? So if we have him being caddied by Martin Maldonado, we would also do a similar process to him and go to his baseball reference card, go to Finders, Advanced Stats. If we knew Willie Crow was going 6, I could get on it. So do you think Will Crow's not pitching 6 innings because they're scared of his arm not being stretched out? Or do you think Will Crow's not pitching 6 innings because he likes to go up there and get absolutely shelled and they have no choice but to take him out? You know what I'm saying? Look at his game log real quick while we're doing 2 things at once. 5 hits, 2 earnings, 2 walks here. The hits, 8 hits in 4 innings. So, like, that seems to be the biggest cause of him not going deep into games. It's the fact that he's getting smacked, right? 85 pitches have been there. 100 pitches have been there. But he's just not good. So, if you think that the D-backs aren't a good play, and you would play Will Crow if he got the innings, there's probably a correlation between those two statements. For the Astros this year, Maldonado actually has a 34% caught stealing rate. So he's caught 21 to 11 stolen base to caught stealing ratio. So that's actually like that's actually good, I think. So Greinke inherently himself hasn't been holding runners extremely well, but Maldonado's been all right. One of the things with Greinke, though, is he has like very, very little velocity, so he probably makes it tough on the catcher to pop up and make that throw anyway. Ball gets to him a little bit slower. Chas McCormick strikes out a lot, and Taylor Jones has been crushing. I think it's another night off for Chas. Possibly a hand injury is a hand injury. Anyway, we spent a lot of time on this game, but that's fine. I told you guys I don't mind going a little extra today. So give me a little bit of Royals, give me a little bit of Astros. We got 1 game left on the docket, the main event. I guess after this we'll swim around the PrizePicks player pool here, maybe find a couple of picks to kind of sift out there. So if you guys aren't on PrizePicks, you want to sign up, get ready for that. Sign up using code Gundacker. They show me love. I show you love. It's a lot of love. Mariners projected starting pitcher Marco Gonzalez taking on Paul Blackburn. I was going to make a mall cop joke, but I guess that's kind of forced. Mariners have an implied run total of 4. The Athletics 4.6. So Oakland Coliseum, definitely a park that plays more pitcher friendly, a lot more spacious in the outfield, and it does have an ability to eat some homers, and that's what you want when you stack against Marco Gonzalez. So this absolutely smells like a troll spot, but I will be on both sides here. Marco Gonzalez, a 1.92 overall home run per nine against righties, a 1.26, and the fly ball rate is crazy. Almost a 50% fly ball rate to right-handed hitters, a 25% line drive rate. So almost 75% of his batted balls are putting the ball at a plus launch angle. The hard contact rate's kind of low, but putting the ball in the air in this park, maybe they find some gaps and not necessarily find walls to jump over. So I'm in on the athletic stack here. 4.6 is not a massive run total, but you could sell me absolutely on Mark Canha, Starling Marte, who is just on a ridiculous tear, stealing bases, by the way. Jed Lowry, all guys that I can get to. And then Matt Chapman. Don't forget about him. He's got a lot of bit of power. And then Matt Olson going lefty on lefty here. If you can, find him a neutral to plus matchup, I do think he's always in the athletic stack because he's easily their best power swinger. But I could understand the pushback here. Marco Gonzalez has been mostly effective against lefties in terms of preventing power, a 50.7% ground ball rate against lefties with a 2.9% walk rate and a 1.26 home run per nine. So wouldn't stun me if Marco held the one lefty at bay. But if these other righties scrapped their way through Marco and Marco only goes 4-5, yeah, Olsen probably has a plus spot. I don't think that in 150 lineups is crazy to get a little bit of Marco in case every fly ball is just like a warning track fly out and he sneaks into a couple strikeouts. 2 games against Oakland this season, averaging 17 DKP. I'd probably take that as a lower end range of outcome out of my SP2 for multi-mass entry. So I don't mind that. It's not something I feel great about or warm and fuzzy about, but this park could really play. Like, this would be the park for a guy that fits the metrics of a Marco Gonzalez, So I don't mind that. Blackburn on the other end here, a pure contact guy. Only 5 innings of sample size this season, 2 innings last year. But if we really dig back to what we know about Paul Blackburn, it's that he's a big contact guy. So going against this Mariners team, there are a couple of contact hitters, J.P. Crawford, Seager, Ty France has really been coming out as of lately. A lot of names that I definitely don't mind getting to. Mitch Haniger, always a dangerous bat to put in play against anybody, but against a contact guy. So I don't mind that. I think Blackburn is a contact pitcher by design, right? Like, he's a ground ball guy going out there to eat some innings. But good things happen to bad pitchers. Bad things happen to good pitchers. I think if you put the ball in play, the results may surprise you slate to slate. So in the minors this season, 17 games pitched, 6 of them he started, 88.2 innings total, 80 strikeouts. That's actually more strikeouts than I thought. With a 1.59 whip. So that whip is ridiculously high, and the ERA is at 4.97. If we go to splits in the minors to see if one side was tilting the seesaw more than the other, 49 innings against lefties, 46 innings pitched, a 300 average allowed, 39 innings against righties, 34 strikeouts, 323 average allowed, so high average to both sides of the plate. But the ground out to air out ratio is still massive, 2+. So still a big ground ball guy, some power, 6 homers in 42 innings, 6 homers in 49 innings to lefties, 2 and 39 to righties. So nothing staggering. So I think if you're stacking Mariners, you're just kind of taking a chance on them against a contact pitcher. Everything else is kind of like not a plus expected return here. I don't think I play Blackburn. Could I talk myself into it? I mean, if I'm here ready to throw a little bit of Senzatella against the Cubs, is there a world where he gets into a little bit of strikeout propensity against the Mariners, right? This Mariners lineup, 25%, 25, 26. There's 4 guys in this projected, 5 guys in this projected Mariners lineup with a 1-4 or greater K rate against righties. Plus, it's a positive park. Like, maybe at 5,300, I wouldn't say no, but I feel like, as crazy as it sounds, I feel like I'm a little more enamored with Senzatella just because of his predecessors. Got to 75 pitches against the White Sox. White Sox is a really tough matchup, and he held them at bay. Maybe, but that's like really, really bottom of the barrel, back end of the pitching player pool, just because it's a 6-game slate. This is 8 or 10. We're not touching Blackburn with a 10-foot pole. And probably more the same with Marco. So we're loosely playing both sides in mass entry. In single entry, I get the case for a couple of these athletics, actually. Marco does allow staggering power numbers. And then Starling Marte has just been a massive floor for fantasy guy. Does still have some power if you're looking for some homers, but the hit for average is nuts, and he is literally like stealing bases at a historic clip, and a lot of shades of Ricky Henderson in this game right now. Look at this, 10 plus DKP, like, and over half of his last 10 games. A lot of it is the stolen base. So, a couple guys do project well for short entry, but that's kind of the talk through on all that stuff, right? Marte of the 40 Thieves. Okay, I can get that. Arabian Nights. Money will be made from this game. Love the A's. I like that. What a Project Mayhem. Houston ownership is going to be astronomical. See, that was my kind of guess here. But I'm getting conflicting reports from chat that the Yankees and the D-backs have projected high. So I don't know. I haven't looked. I don't like to look at ownership until I've kind of processed the slate and understand what I personally like, and then the ownership will kind of let me tweak some stuff. But I would have assumed the Astros were clear-cut number one stack, not only because the matchup, but if you let Vegas tell it, they're the only team on this entire slate with a 5-run total or greater, and they're at 5.6. So that just seems like the basic. Like, if I knew nothing about MLB DFS, that would probably put me on the Astros. So I would assume that their ownership catches up to them as we get closer to lock. But what do I know? I'm just a guy. All right, chat. Let's swim around the PrizePicks lobby a little bit. If you guys aren't on PrizePicks, you know the drill. Sign up, use code GUNDACKER, and we all have fun. If you guys are getting out of here, hit that thumbs up. But we'll be here for a little bit. And if you guys had any other questions about this slate or anything on hitters, anything that you want to look at, I got some time. So normally I don't have this much free time, but because it's a soft slate, I got some time to maybe give you a little bit more of a deep dive into specific situations, specific players, something like that. So for pitching, strikeout props, are there any numbers that jump out? You guys play along. If you guys have already looked at PrizePicks, if you liked any of these numbers, let me know. Looking at some of the lower numbers first, seeing Montgomery at 5.5 does scare me because of my questions on how long he will go without a DH. Enoa and Lance Lynn at 5.5 each. Let's talk about them. So on Enoa, we don't have a confirmed Yankees lineup yet. I will refresh the lineups page. But on Enoa, like, he has a 27% K rate on the season, a 13.3% swinging strike rate, and we should expect 90 pitches if he's pitching a clean game. Got to 80 last time out with 4 Ks against Miami. Now, obviously, Miami, he should have walked away with more than that. But I think if I give him 90 pitches in the K factory against this projected lineup, it'll probably scream something like 7. So 90 pitches give me 6.5. So I get almost a full strikeout of separation here. And this lineup that's already strikeout prone features a American League pitcher in it, right? So if he gets 1 or 2 plate appearances against Jordan Montgomery, you'd almost for sure expect a strikeout unless Booney calls for a bunt. So I don't mind calling the over on a Enoa strikeout prop there. So I might put that in. And then Lance Lynn against the Blue Jays. This Blue Jays lineup projects to be extremely, extremely heavy, or righty heavy. And that lineup's not out yet. But if it comes out like this, where there's just 2 lefties in it, Corey Dickerson and Reese McGuire. And Reese McGuire, that could be variant because they got a couple catchers they can use here. It comes out almost all righties. The strikeout rates aren't that high, so maybe I'd be a little bit more trepid here. So maybe I wouldn't bet it, but man, a 32% K rate against righties on the season. I'd be real doggone tempted. So I guess I'll start with like Inoa over 5.5 is something I'd be looking at. Manoah against the Blues or what am I doing here? Manoah against the White Sox is also an interesting call here because the White Sox do have a much more elevated K rate than the Blue Jays. Only Cesar Hernandez is a sub 20%, so a lot of 1 and 5s, and then there's a couple of 1 and 4s, and he gets strikeouts against both sides, and I don't hate him potentially getting into White Sox strikeouts. So we actually looked at starting pitcher against the Cubs. How about the White Sox? Are we missing out on White Sox giving up a bunch of 6 strikeout games or nah? Chris Archer yesterday just went 2 innings, but he got 4 strikeouts. Luis Patino got 5. Michael Wacha got 9. Irvin is a contact pitcher. I think that's the game Bassett got that comebacker off the face. Montes got 6. Nestor Cortez got 7. So I tell you what, man, give me Inoa over. Not Inoa. Give me Manoah over 6. I'd probably take that, and I'll take the 6 as a push, right? I don't think I could bet Senzatella over 4.5. But good God, this Cubs team is bad, so I wouldn't hate it. Hendricks kind of the same thing. Lynch and Greinke are an awkward lands. Greinke, I don't know if I could ever bet him again. So those are kind of the 2 that stick out to me to play with, Inoa and Manoah. And then fantasy score. You like Manoah under 34 DKP? Manoah did get shelled last time out, but we got to have goldfish memory. I don't remember the substance to what happened. Somebody told me that there was a defensive blunder, but let me double check in the game log to see if the I don't know if the xFIP or the BABIP. I guess the BABIP in a 1 game sample size wouldn't be the way to go, but a 1.9% swing and strike rate last time out with a 6.2 xFIP. All right, so I don't want to lie and blame nothing, but yeah, he did get shelled. But I tell you what, even if you are not having your best game, the strikeouts can still come. But I understand 6 is a high number to ask. So these aren't guarantees. Don't tail it if you don't want to. I'm just kind of thinking what kind of stands out to me. Another thing you can bet on PrizePicks is fantasy score. So be super cognitive that the scoring for fantasy points on PrizePicks parodies that of Fanduel. So if you can get to the quality start and win, that could steal or rob you of a lot. If we go to the scoring chart for we'll go MLB pitcher. 6 points for a win. So 10 points if you get a quality start win. So that's over 30% the way there on a 30-point projection. So some of these pitchers that you might expect 6 innings or plus out of might be able to steal you some luck. So with that said, Inoa and Jordan Montgomery, you feel like one of those guys might get you 6 innings in the win, and then Kyle Hendricks and Senzatella. Senzatella seems the most likely to me to get over 24 Fanduel points because I would have to keep assuming that the Cubs suck, right? And I probably, even if Senzatella is not a strikeout guy, probably expect 6 innings strong out of him. It's hard to expect to win, but 6 innings and a quality start out of Senzatella, probably a really good starting point for him. And then if the Cubs just give him a few, Antonio Senzatella, FTP by game log, last 10 road starts. Let's go road starts here. 22, yikes. 22, 28, 24, 30. So that number's about fair. The only thing that I would say could go up here is the strikeout rate, right? At Houston, lowest strikeout team. At Arizona, they don't strike out like people think they do. At Milwaukee, they've been good. At Cincy, that's not fair. At Miami, you got 8 strikeouts. That's a similarly soft matchup. So I actually don't hate Colin Senzatella over fantasy point projection on PrizePicks. So those are a couple that kind of stick out in terms of hitters. And for some reason, I got the white screen. Yeah, 24. So I kind of like the over 24 fantasy points. So if I was going to go with 3, it would probably be over Inoa 5.5, over Manoah 6, and over Senzatella 24 fantasy points. Those are 3 I'm kind of digging. Definitely 6 is kind of a tough number, but I think it's viable if he's on one. And then we go to fantasy projections for hitters themselves. These become a lot more variable. I will say my recommendation is to stay away for the most part of the single stat stuff. These are baked in double zeros, right? If you bet total bases and the guy gets walked or hit by pitch, you know what I'm saying? Like there's double zeros for the house. I tend to stick to fantasy score, so guys that project well for me power wise or anything like that, I'll just bet on the over. That way I can still get a little bit more credit for the walks or the hit by pitches, and then if you score and whatnot. So a couple names that do kind of stick out. If I let the bomb detector tell the story, we did get a White Sox lineup. We'll get that updated actually. If I let the bomb detector tell the story, there's a couple names at the top that stick out. Carson Kelly, if he bats cleanup, has the highest bomb rating on my chart. So a bomb, if he hit a bomb, he would obliterate the over here. But if he just hit for a little bit of power here, right, a couple extra base hit, a double, maybe drive went in. So I kind of like looking at him for his over of just 6.5 fantasy points. Definitely a spot I don't mind getting to. And then I just like kind of target some high floor guys, right? Starling Marte with his stolen base propensity lately, guys like that. So a couple of stuff that stick out. You guys want to get this White Sox lineup updated to help us decide whether or not we like Manoah. So Tim Anderson, who is one of their bottom 3 strikeout guys, is not in the lineup today. They are leading off with Cesar Hernandez, Luis Robert, Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Brian Goodwin, Andrew Vaughn makes the lineup. Danny Mendick in the 8-hole. Who doesn't love some Mendick in the 8-hole? And then boom, that's your new White Sox lineup. So a little bit less power, I think. Strikeout rate kind of stays the same, but I would still be there on Manoah's over, right? Yeah. Manoah under 34. White Sox or Blue Jays will break the slate. I can see that. Let's not disrespect the White Sox now. I'm not disrespecting the White Sox, but they're kind of like the Yankees, man. As good of a team as they are, they still strike out. I mean, just look at this projected lineup. A lot of 1-4s or greater. So it's not unlike a good strikeout pitcher to come into this lineup and get some strikeouts. But they're definitely they're one of the best offenses in baseball when they're firing at all cylinders, right? Lorenzo says us Braves can't stand the Yankees. Come on, buddy. A gamble under is always the bet for him. I'm feeling it. Yeah. Any other crazy totals here on this board? How does Eloy fare against Manoah? Great question. So a couple ways we can look at that. One is just a simple lefty versus righty or righty versus righty. Eloy bats 287 against righties, 276 ISO. Alek Manoah holds righties at bay, but he does have a 4.5 xFIP. And then something we can do here is go look at the pitch report. And the pitch report, remember, is not a predictive metric. It's just telling you how hitters have performed against classification of pitches. So Manoah is going to throw a lot of fastballs, 93.5 mile an hour average exit velocity, and some sliders. Eloy Jimenez has a 3.5 grade on a linear scale against the fastball and a plus rating against the slider. So he actually projects the best against the fastball on this entire team. So definitely don't mind him if that's kind of what you're getting to, but he projects fine. Still has some strikeout risk in him, but in terms of power, hit for average, and pitch versus pitch type, there's a world where Eloy gets to Manoah here for sure. My Braves crossing tonight? Come on, bro. Nah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yankees, I think the majority of Yankee games have been decided by like 1 run or less. So it might come down to whose bullpen tries to lose the most, right? Anyway, chat, is that it? We got anything else? Did we get some more lineups? I think we did. I think the Cubs and Rockies are both out, so we can get those punched in. Cubs lineup is Rafael Ortega, Swindle, Ian Happ, Patrick Wisdom, David Boat, Michael Hermosillo, who I know nothing about, Rob Chirinos in the lineup. the lineup got worse somehow. What the freak? Guys. Please stop me from playing Senzatella in like a dumb single entry. Look at this matchup, man. Holy. Guys, don't let me do it. Please don't. Only 3 guys in this Cubs lineup with a 300 plus average. Everyone other than Ortega, a 24 to 26 to 30% K rate. How? Can't do it. Leave out Riley for the Brave stack. He stinks against lefties. Austin Riley. I got him with a 245 ISO against lefties. So 820 OPS. Stink is a strong word, but he doesn't hit them for amazing average. So what's he doing this year against lefties? Austin. I hate Austin. You guys know what that's from? You ever seen the old vignettes where Shane McMahon was training Vince McMahon to fight Stone Cold? And he was just like chasing chickens and eating or drinking raw eggs. Against lefties here this year. Is that this year? Austin Riley. Against lefties this year, Austin Riley batting 257 against lefties, 309 against righties, so he's definitely hit for more average against righties. Just 2 homers against lefties, 11 doubles, so still a little bit of power. What's the batted ball against lefties this year? 29% hard contact against lefties. Definitely not what you want. 43% pull rate with a 37% fly ball rate. So, yeah, maybe definitely seeing a little bit of regression this year against lefties. I don't hate using that as a way to avoid him, but I don't think I would purposely leave him out of my Brave stack. But if you're a little bit more like, flyer-less lineups, you can justify it, right? Did you get Degenerate Ape NFT? I don't play the NFT market. I guess like I should. I was into the Top Shot, made a ton of money on Top Shot, and then sold over the summer. But I haven't really gotten into the horse breeding or the other stuff. Somebody told me that right now the DraftKings NFT market feels a lot like early Top Shot. So even if you don't care about NFTs, if you can get into a queue, buy it, and then immediately sell it, there's no reason not to. So I'll probably start doing that. But for the most part, my brain hasn't understand the concept of NFTs, but my brain does understand the concept of monies and quick flips. And even if this bubble bursts, I'm fine to go get some money, right? When Stone Cold beat up Vince at the hospital, oh my God, good times. So much fun. When he drove that big truck, man. Yo, wrestling's making a resurgence, boys. Guys, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat a couple hours before lock, making my lineups. If you guys want to see where I get to in terms of my player pool, I fill out this tab in the spreadsheet. It's called Guns Player Pool. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. Been working on NFL content, so I don't want to commit to telling you guys that there will be a first look video in the morning. There might be. But I got a couple NFL videos, some bangers coming out, so look out for that, man. I appreciate you guys giving me a little bit of your time. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up before you hit the road. And twitter.com/Gundecker is how you guys can keep connecting with me. We'll try and tweet out the bomb detector, man. I love you guys. I hope you crush it tonight. Show me those screenshots. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.